we're going to talk about why it can be sometimes more difficult to parent adopted children. So if you haven't got children yet, this could be useful to you. If you have, then you may be able to identify with some of these points, and it may just help you through any difficult times that you have. My point number one is there's always a history with adopted children. So however young you've had that adopted child, even as a baby, there's always a history there. And so you've always got that background information to take into consideration. There may be stuff that you still don't really know about your adopted child. And so when you're parenting, sometimes it can be more challenging to try and incorporate those understandings and ideas about your child and what they've come from. Adopters sometimes doubt themselves. They may look like they're not doubting themselves, but they do sometimes doubt themselves on this journey because there isn't going to be as many people to discuss this journey with, and so sometimes adopters second guess what they're doing. They look at what other adopters are doing. They expect the pathway sometimes to be smoother than what it is, and I'm here to sort of comfort you in a way to say actually it can be very, very challenging to parent adopted children. So there is no need to second guess yourself. Just go through each day as it comes. Similar to what I said before, is the community of adopters is obviously less than the community of just parents at large. So you're not going to have so many people that you can identify with or call on, and therefore you may have a limited handful of people that you can trust to discuss any issues that you're having with your adopted child. So that's my third point. The first few months can be really intense and really tiring, and that is just because you have, for one thing, a new child in the home, but also because you're learning as you're going along really, really quickly about this new child, and it just can be just so intense in those first few months. So that's another reason why it can be difficult to parent them, because you're just tired and exhausted as you're learning about their personality. Sometimes, and this is connected with kind of doubting yourself, adopters worry about what social workers and friends and family are going to think about how they're parenting, because parenting can be very different in the sense that you're going to use more therapeutic parenting, and you're maybe going to have to put boundaries in place that other parents may not have to put in place. Unexpectedly, sometimes the bond with your adopted child doesn't happen right away. It can do, yes, but it can also take a number of weeks, months, or even years before you feel fully connected and bonded with your adopted child, and that would not be unusual. And so it's harder to parent a child that you don't feel that bond with, and that just takes time to come. Trust me, it takes time to come, and it will come. Your adopted child may come with unexpected behaviours. You may feel that you've been given all the information and read all the paperwork around this child, and yet they may come with behaviours that you did not expect, and that can take you by surprise and cause some anxiety as to how you're going to deal with it and whether there's anything you're doing wrong. So that's another reason why it can be difficult to parent an adopted child. Court issues or hold-ups or things within the system that are still happening when the child is first placed with you that haven't yet been resolved can cause some anxiety, because all you really want is to know that that child is definitely yours and that that adoption order has come through and that you're the legal parent. So things going on in the background with the process or system from whichever country you come from could actually cause you lots of anxieties. An older child, and when I say an older child, maybe a child that's perhaps 4+, may actually try to disrupt the placement if they've been settled previously with a foster carer, or even if they haven't. Sometimes children will try and break you and push you away. It's only down to their abusive history, of course, but sometimes that can happen where the child actually tries to disrupt the placement. Lack of training and post-adoption support can be quite common. You've probably looked on YouTube to see how many channels there are about adoption and any post-adoption support, and you've probably struggled to find them. There are some, but it's not many, and I think most people expect that they're just going to fall into line, have a child in the home, love is enough, and they're going to be fine. But many adoptive families struggle on many different levels. Perhaps you could comment on what you fear the most when you're adopting a child, or what you are already struggling with your adopted child. Thank you for listening to me.